Now, we've determined our goal. Now, this determines our dosage. The dosage is the combination of sets, reps, your intensity, so external load, rest, technique, which includes tempo, and the limit. I assume that sets, reps, intensity, rest, and technique are pretty clear. So we will talk about the limit real quick. There are different kinds of limits. The most well known is probably the so-called muscle failure. And here we always talk about reps in reserve. So for example, when you're doing back squats and you go all out rep, as many reps as possible until you physically cannot push up the bar once more, then you reached reps in reserve 0. There are no reps left in reserve that you could do with the same technique, with the same dosage. Let's call this muscle failure. Now, if you stop your set and could have done one more rep, then this would be reps in reserve 1, and so on. Now, important here, especially for less experienced athletes or even beginners, they usually tend to underestimate themselves. So they sometimes stop at reps in reserve 5 because they feel like they only can do 1 or 2 more reps, but if they would push themselves, they could really do even 5 more. So if you're a beginner or not really experienced, have never used reps in reserve, if in doubt, do one more rep and then re-evaluate. If you're still unsure, do one more rep, and somewhere down the line you will come to a situation where you really feel like, okay, now I might be able to do 1 or 2 more reps, and that's really it. Now, if you're an experienced lifter, especially in using reps in reserve, your estimates will be most likely more accurate. Next to your muscle failure, there are more limits, such as your central nervous system, but we will cover that later on when talking about a few examples. As I said earlier, your dosage then will automatically determine your physical adaptations. This could be hypertrophy, so increased cross-sectional area, could be improved intermuscular coordination, so kind of your body parts working together. Could also be muscular coordination, which is your muscles working efficient, but also, for example, stretching tolerance, and more. Now I would like to talk about CNS fatigue, so central nervous system fatigue. Exercises will have a strain on your central nervous system. Some will have a higher strain, some will have a lower strain. And on this graphic from JT Performance, shout out to him, you can see which exercises will have a higher amount and which will have a lower amount of strain on your central nervous system. So for example, all the Olympic lifts, sprints, ballistic exercises, and plyometrics, so heavy and fast or just very, very fast exercises will have a relatively high strain on your central nervous system. Then we have heavy compound lifts, especially for your lower extremities, so your legs, such as squats and Romanian deadlifts, which still have a very high to moderate strain on your CNS. Then we have heavy compound lifts of your upper body, which have a little less strain on your CNS, and the least strain will have supplementary lifts, accessories, whatever you want to call it. Now let's take a look at a potential weekly schedule. We have practice on Tuesday and Thursday and game day on Saturday. So we're in season. If we take a look at the graph on the top, then we can see max sprints, plyometrics, high CNS. So probably practice Tuesday and Thursday, as well as Saturday, the game day, will be high CNS days. In a perfect world, obviously, practice will be adjusted in season, but unfortunately, especially within Europe, this is not always the case, so we cannot guarantee that. Now, let's talk about a few training splits. One potential split, high-low. So we have training sessions with a high demand of our CNS and such that are lower demand. This is a very good split if you're a pro athlete without a regular job. The difficult thing here is if we have, for example, 2 gym sessions and 1 sprint session. We might have 1 high CNS gym session and a low CNS gym session, and then the speed session automatically is a high CNS session, right? Because whenever doing max sprints, we will have high CNS demands. So now we need to put these sessions into our week, and we have two sessions that are high CNS. We cannot put them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Sunday. So we have to put one gym session and one speed session on either Tuesday or Thursday. But the double days, especially if you have to drive from the gym to practice first, are usually very difficult to perform if you have a regular job. The low CNS gym session isn't the big problem because we can just put it on Monday, Wednesday, or maybe even Sunday. I wouldn't put it on Friday in this situation. So keep it short, high-low. Yes, good split, but very difficult for your average amateur or even semi-pro athlete that does have a regular job next to American football. Our next split that I would like to talk about is anterior posterior chain. Anterior chain would be everything in the front of your body, such as bench press and back squats. Posterior chain would be everything on the back side, such as pulling exercises, hamstrings, etc. Now, this split for your average European American football player is, in my opinion, superior to the high-low split, but also has some downsides to it. So for example, if you want to have 4 gym sessions per week, you have suboptimally heavy back squats on your first AC session, heavy front squats on your second AC session, heavy Romanian deadlifts on your first PC session, and again heavy Romanian deadlifts on your second PC session, then you always have some kind of high CNS strain. So you need optimally 1 day of rest or CNS rest in between each session. So you would have to split it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, which works within 1 week if you don't have any practice or no speed sessions. But then in the second week, it already doesn't work anymore. So the risk here is that you're going to have too little CNS rest. Now we come to my personal favorite, high-low combined with ACPC. We do, if again, for example, 4 sessions per week, you have 1 high and 1 low AC session, 1 high and 1 low PC session. So you can structure your week very efficiently. You can do double days if you can and want to. You can do 2 days in a row. You have some kind of split, so you don't have just full body sessions all the time. And also you will have enough rest for your CNS. So far, so good.